Oh.
Genius billionaire playboy film.
Why so serious?
I wish I knew how to quit you.
You talking to me?
Life was like a box of chocolates.
You can't handle the truth.
I see dead people.
Say hello to my little friend.
Here's Johnny.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I'll be back.
Attic 11, this is Control. You need to evacuate the container.
Attic 11, do you copy?
Hey, what's the problem?
It's in the cage. It's in there with you.
Go!
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting installment of Picture This Film Reviews. We're coming to you on our sequence or our season finale type as we're going through all the films of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise. Super excited to bring that to you, one of my all-time favorite franchises in film, and I believe that's pretty much a shared sentiment across the room here. So awesome, awesome, awesome. As you guys may know, we are doing some of these episodes on the same day, so we are skipping over a round table where we talk about how our day was, all that jazz, but we are still going to introduce ourselves on the top of the episode, just so you know, if you've never tuned in with us before, who the heck we are. So starting off, my name is Dan.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Matt.
So guys, we're really excited to be bringing this to you on this wonderful day. As we get closer to the release of Jurassic World Dominion, the third movie in the Jurassic World franchise and the last installment of the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World saga that we know of yet. So before we kick it off and talking about our reviews, we usually go through and kick it over to the stat guy, which is normally me, but unfortunately, I don't want to talk to you the whole entire time because I can be really boring at times. My accent might throw some things off. So I'm going to kick you over to my lovely wife, Miss Kayla. Kayla, what do you have for us on Jurassic World?
Yeah, you can refer to me as the stats gal. Okay, anyway, so this is Jurassic World, and this was released in 2015. It is rated PG-13, and this sits at 2 hours and 4 minutes. So it's right there around the same time of Jurassic Park 1 and 2, longer than Jurassic 3. But Matt, how does this rate with you as far as time or the length?
This is right there where you kind of feeling the pressure on your bladder, and you kind of like, I kind of gotta get up and go, but it's almost over. I feel like it's almost over, and you just kind of try to hold it out. Yeah.
Okay, so potty break might be needed during this film. So we are going to head over to, let's see, actually, before I give you the ratings, I want to say that this was directed by Colin Trevorrow. Ooh, I'm sorry, Trevor. Or Colin, I'm sorry. Your name's not even Trevor. It's Colin. So this is starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Vincent I don't know how to say Onofrio. No, I don't know.
D'Onofrio.
What is that?
D'Onofrio.
Jeez Louise. Somebody get me a dictionary or something. Okay, anyway. So this made, I don't know what the budget was, but I assume globally made $1.670 billion. So holy crap, people are like, yeah, Jurassic Park, we're gonna friggin' see this. So let's see the ratings. It earned a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. It is sitting at a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 4.2 out of 5 on Movie Insider, which we don't hit off that one too much, but okay. And then 87% of people on Google liked this movie. So this got really good reviews. I don't remember, I'm sure the first one is like, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, something like that. But this is pretty decent, especially considering this is almost 20 years. It's more than 20 years later. It's 15 plus, yes, more, it was like 22, 23 years later after the first one. So I'm sure, and 14 years after the last one. So I'm sure people were gearing up for this. But this got pretty decent reviews. It made a crap ton of money. So they were like, yeah, let's do another one. And they did. And then they did again. But we are here to talk about that first one in Jurassic World. So I'm going to kick this back to Dan. So I'm going to be quiet now.
Thank you so much for going over the stats for us, Kate. Did an excellent job.
Oh, thank you.
Super awesome. So really super excited to talk about this movie, as mentioned before. In particular with this, I feel like we have to throw in an almost supernatural interlude where we talk about the story of the journey so far. When I was talking about, or we just got done filming our episodes on Jurassic Park, Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. Overall, the ratings for each, respectively, I had at a 10, a 7.5, and then a 5.5. So I really just want you to give the perspective of where we were on that. As far as sequels go in this franchise, I think this was so wonderfully done. I feel like as far as the ratings go, this is going to be close for me to where Jurassic Park was, just for the big aspect of giving you an overview of not a closed park where we're seeing behind the scenes of the attractions before they're open to the public, but a fully functional Jurassic World. What does that look like? We have the Mesosaurus in the giant tank with the stadium seats that go underwater to give you a firsthand experience of what it's like when it feeds on freaking sharks, which we do know Steven Spielberg's still an executive producer on that, and that idea was pitched to him. He thought it was hilarious because of its connection with Jaws, which again, if you watch the first episode, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about Jaws.
I know
Steven Spielberg's film, so I'm sorry, guys, but I'm really talking about Jurassic World.
I was editing, not to cut you off, but I was editing that moment, and you were like, "This is one of Steven Spielberg's biggest movies, beside E.T." at this time, and I was like, Jaws, hello.
And Indiana Jones, you know, let's let the guy who loves Jurassic Park just have his moment, right? So when we're talking about this, we're going over another, basically I'd say an egomaniac billionaire who thinks that, again, we can control nature in a way that John Hammond tried to in the original film. Some of the parallels between them also, he wore a ring that had the amber, that had the insect encased in it. Thought that there was no limit to the amount of expense that could be put into the park. That really didn't seem important to him. His biggest thing was, did the people enjoy the attractions that they have? Were the animals happy? And really, he was the one that, when you're introduced to the new animal, like, he's the one that's like worried about it, right? That is trying to get out, it's clawing its way, it's going to scare the children, it's going to scare the parents, and that's something that's really important. So we're also introduced to the Indominus Rex, which is the first time that we're entered into a crossbred or genetically modified de-extinct animal. So that's kind of cool, and we find out later in the film it's mixed with not only the T-Rex but also the raptors, which plays an important part into it, and some other animals in between, that it's able to have camouflage, that it's super intelligent, that it's super angry and aggressive and ate its sibling. I mean, we went over the top, but honestly, let's talk about the way the world is. Let's be honest real quick, right? People would, if this existed in real life, probably be doing this exact same thing in order to make a profit, in order to earn money, because they want you to be shocked and awed. And I thought that, I mean, I could see this existing in the world today, as it were. We're also introduced to some new characters. None of the original cast were put into this, so we didn't see Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, but we did see, I take that back, we did see J.D. Wong return for his role, or B.D. Wong, oh my God, see, I'm going crazy. B.D. Wong return for his role. Now, when we get into this, a little bit of backstory, I thought was kind of interesting. At the time this movie came out, there was also a release of a website that gave you some like behind the scenes info, which I think is kind of important to discuss because some of it wasn't included in the movie and it wasn't included in number 3. So Maserati, the billionaire that we're talking about, takes over the Jurassic World and InGen, bought the island apparently after John Hammond's death in 1997. So John Hammond had died prior to the events that took place on Jurassic Park 3. which is some interesting information. And at that point, InGen scientists returned to island Isla Sorna to do some genetic experiments, which put out, again, the Spinosaurus and 3 others. And it was against the law at the time. Eventually, he spearheads InGen's revival. Again, we see that basically he's funding in for these the genetic research, getting the people to come back to the island. InGen becomes a paramilitary kind of force, and we see that in the movie. We're introduced to, again, new characters, Owen Grady. We also get introduced to Claire, who's a new character for us. One's extremely kind of like go with the flow, but a military background, which supposedly was with the Navy. And I didn't hear it mentioned in the film, but looking it up, he apparently trained dolphins with the Navy. I'm assuming, I do know that sometimes they are used underwater for certain things, surveillance and things. So basically he was training the animals, and specifically the raptors, which we get more of a firsthand look, and we're introduced to actually an animal or dinosaur character, which I feel is like a character of the franchise now, Blue the Velociraptor, which he bonds with as he's growing up. Sorry? No. He bonds with, it follows directions, and that's when InGen kind of gets involved, like, okay, can't you see the military application for this? Don't you know what the research is going towards? We could use these guys as boots on the ground and really take the human element out. And these guys are just killing machines. So you have 2 different sides of the spectrum, which kind of remind me as a throwback to Jurassic Park Lost World, where you had 2 different teams. One was kind of like save the dinosaur, and the other was, okay, we're going to go and capture them, we're going to exploit them for financial gain. Whereas this kind of pitting that same thing, you have the ones that truly respect dinosaurs and the power that the genetic research has brought, versus the ones that want to militarize it and capitalize on it, on top of just opening a park, which apparently has billions of dollars that it costs to run, the amount of time that's open. So super crazy. I'm not going to go too much more into the detail on that. Just want to point out some of my favorite parts. I did love Owen Grady as a character in this. I thought that he kind of gave me reminiscent of Alan Grant, but more action-packed. And I think that was kind of what they're going for, was they wanted him to be an action-type hero in this. We still had the element of the children being added. Claire's nephews were at the park. They're with the assistant that unfortunately gets snacked on later in the film by pterodactyls, which you see so much from the original film that are odes or something that reminds you of a moment. There's a very particular segment where they go into the visitor center of the first movie, where the Tyrannosaurus, makes his exit, and then you have the banner that's falling down. They see the banner on the floor. They see the T-Rex skeleton that was hanging up before knocked over. We walk through the cafeteria section, which John Hammond, I was joking to Kayla about this in the first movie, lit himself like 6, 7, 8 candles at each table because they're the only ones on the island left, and was eating a meal. We see that screen where the raptor appears. They did such a good job of not only, I think, building a film for the newer generation of Jurassic lovers, but to give it a throwback to people like me or Matt or whoever grown up on this, to be like, okay, we see a lot of what you had and are included in the first movie, and we respect that, you're bringing that back and paying tribute to it. I think it was very respectfully done. Spiritually felt very much related, even though we had a different director, we had different casting. Just a sense of what I think John Hammond probably was after with his park, to open to the public, not so much just be a money maker, but to actually bring people joy. John Hammond talked a lot about like the flea circus and things like that, and how people used to come out and swear they saw the fleas. They didn't do that. They put a bunch of dinosaurs in front, and then not only that, took it forward. And there was some financial part creating these new creatures, genetically modified, especially like the Rex that we talked about. But overall, I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. I don't want to go too much into it because I know these guys are going to have a lot to talk about, but terrific addition to the franchise. Really excited to see how their story wraps up. And I know we're going to talk about Fallen Kingdom here too soon, but just just really, really great movie. And if you haven't seen it, you could watch it as standalone, but would definitely recommend to watch it after at least watching, the first three, just to understand where you are coming from. So, but that's where I'm gonna leave that.
You want to go or you want me to go?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I can go if you want me to go.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know how to first go into this. I'll just say this. If it went Jurassic Park and then you waited the time from Jurassic Park to this is what I would call a perfect sequel to a movie. Because this gives you the nostalgia from the first movie. This gives you a perfect rebranding of this whole franchise. And it gives you, new characters to love, new characters, storylines to explore, new dinosaurs. So, and that comes with new obstacles, new things to eat you, all that kind of jazz. So this was great. I haven't seen this movie since maybe the first time that we went in theaters and watched it. So it was really great to go back and then to really appreciate, since we've been watching these other Jurassic Park films, not only for the appreciation value, but to pick up on things that little Easter eggs they planted all along, especially in this one too. Of course, like Dan said, the pterodactyls. I didn't care for I think it's the Mosasaurus. I didn't care for that thing. I don't like water stuff. So to me, that was not cool. I did not like when she got eaten by that thing and the pterodactyl, because I thought the pterodactyls were creepy anyway, because there was a creepy pterodactyl, right? It was a regular pterodactyl, what you picture. And then there was a pterodactyl with like a mini T-Rex head. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I was screaming during this part because I was like, did you see the pterodactyl with the T-Rex head? And then like it cued away and I was like, Dan, I was like, look at that thing. Like, oh my God, that was freaky. So it's like, of course, these dinosaurs, you got all these different things that they're exploring into. And you pick up on these, like I said, crazy new I was mixing up dinosaurs and monsters, so I was about to say donsters. So dinosaurs, you've got an array of dinosaurs that it's like, for me, Jurassic Park 2. Like I felt like they were shoving it down your throat, right? But this, I felt like you could keep up with like the pacing, like you could stuff it all in your mouth and be able to swallow it, because it was like, they gave you the right amount of stuff in the perfect amount of time. It wasn't like too slow or too fast. So it was really nice. I do like the Owen Grady character. I think, Chris Pratt obviously was the breakout freaking star of this movie. And I think he was perfect in it. You've got this little sassy little Navy dude, but also he's like this buff man who, like, you're kind of like, when they say like, oh, it's this ex-Navy dude, right? And you're like, what the hell? A Navy dude is like training these.
Yeah, how does that translate to train a raptor?
I know, right? And we're just like, well, maybe he was just like the best Navy.
I thought he was in the SEALs, like the Navy SEAls. I was like, maybe he's just a hardcore guy.
But anyway, that was a little, but whatever. But that really didn't deter from the story. So his character was great to add into it. I'm actually really, really, really now have watched, almost all these films. Really looking forward to the dynamic between the older characters and the newer characters, because I really want to see how they're going to play off of each other, especially. And okay, so I hope they and I don't know if I should say this. So Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the next one, you get a glimpse of Ian Malcolm. He's talking to the grand jury, whatever, the Supreme Court, and you kind of actually feel a little bit of Jurassic Park 1 Ian Malcolm, because I feel like that's something Ian Malcolm would say. It was like, it felt like his attitude, not like Jurassic Park 2. I'm sorry, this might get confusing, so I'm so sorry. I'm trying to work out the thoughts in my head too. So it just would be nice if this newer film, they put Ian Malcolm in there, that's from Jurassic Park 1, and then we have him play off of Owen Grady, because I feel like that dynamic is going to be absolutely wonderful. But going off this first one, this was great. You know, my kids loved it. We loved it. We sat downstairs and watched it. It was perfect. It's one of those great movies for a movie night. Great addition, like Dan said, to this whole Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise. And it was the perfect one to kick off, to get things back going. To get things back going? To get things
Going again.
going.
So, and to your
Back
point,
going?
I think Matt made a comment of in the last episode of how you can incorporate kids or make it more of a kid-friendly movie without being super cheesy. And for us, and watching it with our children, like this did exactly that. It wasn't so much gore and death and darkness. Like it had a lot of the lightness of the first film.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. So Jurassic Park 1 had the boy and the girl, the sister and the brother. And then you have just the boy in Jurassic, well, you have the daughter in Jurassic Park 2, just the boy in Jurassic Park 3. And then you have in this, you had a brother and a brother. And I think that was perfect because you needed them to play off of each other. And one is a young kid, and the one is the older teenager. So you needed that kind of dynamic to really like, to be like angsty, but then also to be like, I've got you. So that was really nice to see because from the beginning, you know, they wanted nothing really to do with each other, but you know, of course, going through this traumatic thing, and they're like, of course, going to bond over it. So I think picking two brothers was perfect to add to the child dynamic in this. And I was thinking about that and then I was also thinking about, you know, they haven't really killed a lady in this until this film. The assistant was the first lady you actually see getting killed on screen. So not that that's like something to be like, oh my God, they killed a lady, like cool beans, because that's kind of weird to be thinking about, but I was just thinking about it. But anyway, it's just weird, something that I picked up on. I don't really know why that's important. Anyway, I loved it. We'll probably watch it again because it's that good. It gives you the nostalgia that you want from the first film, and it brings in new things. And that's what, when you're trying to recapture an audience, that's what you want. And that's what's going to keep them coming back. And especially for this third film, which is going to be freaking huge too. So this movie gets a 9 out of 10 for me. I loved it. You know, it brought back the music too of the first one, and you could hear it trickling in different kind of like sequences and stuff, or you can hear it like a tiny bit and you're like, oh, they're doing that for that. So this was very well done, from directing, producing, the script, everything. It was great. So 9 out of 10 for me. And I really like the addition of Bryce Dallas Howard. I think she's fantastic. Like she really is.
You gotta give her props for doing all her
running in the
scenes in heels.
Yes,
That's
and
freaking crazy.
So I was telling Dan's mom about this, Mary Faye, and I was like, you know, she was persistent about running in these heels because they told her, oh, you don't have to run in these heels, blah, blah, blah. She was the one that pushed for it, and she did it. It was no one else but her. So that was actually really cool to think that she was that committed to being like, but I'm sorry, I was about to curse. That girl was getting it. And, you know, I'd probably be trying to run too in mud and heels from a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but, you know, I'd probably die. I'd be dead by the first film, but yeah.
I wouldn't have made it into the park. I would have tripped off the boat.
But yeah, that's on to you, Matt.
Okay. Like everyone else, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It had been, what'd you say, 14 years?
So.
Since Jurassic Park 3, so it was a long time. The other two movies had a 4-year gap. There's 4 years between The Lost World and the original, and there's 4 years between number 3 and The Lost World. So this, because we thought Jurassic Park was done. You know, it went a long time without any sequels, without any really notable news. You know, it was just a thing of the past that it was kind of fading away. Jurassic Park 3 was the end of the series. And I'm very, very much glad that it's not, because this made up for everything that was wrong with Jurassic Park 3. This did what Jurassic Park 3, I think, was trying to do, but did it better. I'm going to start reading off my notes here because I make notes as I watch these things so I don't stumble, even though I still stumble a lot. I totally forgot that Judy Greer was in this movie. She's the mother of the two boys. If you don't know who she is, I don't really know how to tell you other than I know her being the Halloween fan that I am. I know her from the new Halloween films, the reboot Halloween films that she's in. She's a primary character in those. So I saw her come on the screen. I was like, oh my gosh. So I've been watching this, it hit me, and it wasn't something that I knew that I wanted or needed or that I knew about. I don't know what I'm saying, but it occurred to me that, as I mentioned the last episode, the first two movies were really geared towards adults. I mean, kids could watch them, really the first one, and be all right, but they were adult films, not those kind of adult films. But
We don't talk about those here.
we don't talk about those on here. That's our Picture This After Dark spinoff series. But it occurred to me that the Jurassic movies, as we know them now, and probably as we're ever going to know them, are never going to be adult films anymore. They're going to be geared towards family, and as they should be, because they're dinosaurs. What is the biggest selling point or the biggest, who attracts, what am I saying? What attracts to dinosaurs? I'm saying it wrong. Children and dinosaurs go together like the South and sweet tea. Especially, but sorry, I'm all over the place. I said I wasn't going to stumble, and now I'm doing exactly that. But it occurred to me that these are never going to be adult films anymore, like the first two. They're going to be always more family oriented. And that's okay if done correctly. Jurassic Park 3 was not done correctly. This was done correctly. This movie found that balance where you could watch it with your entire family, and the kids would get, oh, wow. And the parents would be, oh yeah, this is exciting. This is cool. This is kind of intense. That same feeling that they got from the original movies. The casting was great. The children, as you mentioned, I enjoyed that whole story, that whole dynamic. I think we were missing that even though there were children in 3 and 2, there wasn't the same as Tim and Lex in number 1. And maybe because there's 2, they played off each other. You cared about that brother-sister. In this, you care about the 2 brothers. Nick Robinson, who is fantastic and is kind of blown up. Kings of Summer, Love Simon, Everything. If you haven't seen his work, go check it out. The other kid is Ty Simpkins, who, if you don't know, was the little boy in Iron Man 3. He's also done some other things, but I think that's his biggest thing. I liked that this movie returned to the original island, Isla Nublar, right?
Nublar, yeah.
Okay. Sorna is the other one. So this is the first time since the first movie that we're on the first island. And in that, you felt a lot of the same magic. There's that word again. That same magic that the first movie had. It was fantastic to see John Hammond's original idea finally brought to life and realized. The original music, the John Williams score, is done here and is done brilliantly. This is how it should have been done. Whereas 2 had hardly any trace of it at all, and 3 had too much of it. This was that nice balance where, okay, this is giving me a new story, new feelings, but also bringing back the nostalgia and giving me what I like about these movies. And that's how powerful music is. It makes you feel all those things. Seeing B.D. Wong at first was nostalgic after the first movie. He's a character that you never expected to turn up again, and he does. And it works. And in that same tone or topic, I'll say that this movie didn't need the original cast. You could have even done it without B.D. Wong. And it works because it's so well written and it's so well done that it works in a way that you could watch it as its own thing and not really feel, I don't watch this and feel, oh man, I wish Sam Neill had come back, or oh man, I wish Jeff Goldblum had been in this, I don't feel that when I watch this, because they more than make up for it. And that's how well the acting is done by the people that are in it. The dinosaurs look a lot more real in this movie, whereas number 3, they made them look cartoonish almost. This one brought it back to a more serious tone. There was some color, blue, but it doesn't bother me. It was just like kind of blue streaks down, it wasn't like the last movie. Oh boy. I already talked about the casting was perfect. Great additions of Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Jake Johnson, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Training dinosaurs is quite a concept, let alone training velociraptors. But it works. If someone says, oh, we're making a movie, and in the movie, the main character is going to have raptors trained. What? But it works here. Again, the writing, the acting, everything that they do works. Because even though you see that they are trained and they listen to Owen, you still get that feeling that they could go rogue at any minute. And that's what makes it work. They're not just like little puppy dogs that'll sit and you tell them to sit. They're waiting at the chance to rip Owen's head off, but they're trained just enough to know not to. The ever color changing Indominus Rex is an interesting addition here. This is our new big bad in this movie, and it's definitely kind of terrifying. The death scene that was mentioned a couple times with the assistant, that was brutal. That might have been the most brutal death in the movie, with the pterodactyl picking her up, dropping her, picking her up, dropping her, taking her in the water, putting her under the water, picking her up, putting her back down in the water, picking her back up, and then the other sea dinosaur thing that I don't know the name of, what he said, comes up and just swallows both her and the pterodactyl. I'm like, holy crap! Like that was a brutal scene. I don't believe there should ever be a park with dinosaurs. You hear every once in a while that, oh, some of this technology might actually work, or they found this with dinosaur DNA. And it makes you wonder if there would ever be a day where we see living, breathing dinosaurs again. If that day should ever happen, I don't think there should ever be a park with dinosaurs, but for the exact reasons that are shown in this movie. But if there were to be, I also feel like this is exactly how it would be. Like Dan, I think, said that this felt like something that would be real, that you would see today. Like this, that they had shops like a jewelry shop. I can't think of the main Pandora. They had a Pandora and a eatery. Wasn't Subway, but it was.
Well, they also have what Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even catch that, but yeah, they had like I felt like it was like a theme park. It was a theme park, and that's exactly how it would be. Lots of nostalgic nods to the original Jurassic Park, the music, B.D. Wong, the kids finding the original guest center, welcome center, like you talked about. The vehicles from the first movie were in this. The night goggles that Tim used. You see it all, and it just brings back those good memories you have of the first movie. The T-Rex moment gave me goosebumps as I watched it, and was confirmed by the director Colin Trevorrow that it is meant to be the same T-Rex from the original Jurassic Park film. Yep. And when she lights the what? Flare, thank you. When she lights the flare and the gate starts to open, and you see it come out, you're like, oh, like it just gave you chills, and it gave me goosebumps all down my body. Because now you know you're in for the original big bad versus the new big bad, and you hope it lives up to it, and it does. It's what everyone didn't know that they wanted to see it, but they got it, and they got to see it. It was a really well done sequel / reboot. It was a requel for you Scream fans. we had magical, we had gritty, we had cheesy. I give my word for this movie is fantastic. I give this an 8 out of 10.
Good.
And I just wanted to point out a couple of things I think I've missed before in talking about this. In Jurassic Park, the original, it was noted at the end that there was a lysine contingency, right? So that after a few days, if the dinosaurs didn't get it, they would start to die off. So I believe, and you can correct me, you moviegoers who love Jurassic Park even more so than I, because I couldn't find information about this, that the dinosaurs on Isla Nublar, for the most part, may have started to succumb to this. Obviously, since the T-Rex is still alive, it couldn't have been all of them, but maybe some. And then that they started, when InGen started making its second rise, when it became more paramilitary and they started moving the dinosaurs, they took most of the dinosaurs off Isla Sorna, which is where they were thriving, what we saw in Jurassic Park Lost World and also in Jurassic Park 3. They started taking those dinosaurs, moving them over to the other island. And then that's when they started to realize, you know, hey, that's not enough. Let's start gene splicing, doing this, that, and the other. And then we give birth to the Indominus Rex and later another dinosaur, which we'll talk about in our next series. I think Matt was 100% correct. It was great to see that original island. Just interesting to think that you had what I would say the two biggest dinosaurs in the first and second movies, arguably one from the third movie, the Velociraptor and the T-Rex team up at the end. And then ultimately, you know, the Indominus Rex gets eaten by the Mesosaurus at the end. Man, that must have been some hungry freaking Mesosaurus. Ate everything that was dropped into it, right? And even one that was barely hanging over the edge. But just crazy to see that in the end. And I feel like you're exactly right that it made up for the end of Jurassic Park 3. And I feel like a lot of the fan sentiment was listened to, like, okay, how could we made this better? And they delivered on that. So kudos to them. Kudos to the director, the cast, everybody involved. Great ratings all the way around. So what, we had 8 and 2 9s. So super awesome. Please go watch this if you haven't already. Go watch, especially before the new Jurassic World Dominion comes out. Typically this part where we're going to wrap up. I do want to say, folks, thank you for watching our episodes. If you stayed with us since the beginning, or maybe you just joined us, you can find us at Picture This Film Reviews on Instagram, and then also Picture This Film Reviews on Facebook. And then what is our YouTube page, Matt?
Well, you should know because you're watching it right now on it. It's youtube.com/Studio29Films.
So, guys, thank you so much for continuing this journey with us through the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise. And Matt, why don't you go ahead and take us away?
Everybody have a great week. We're wrapping this thing up. Watch Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, as that's what we're talking about next week. And of course, love one another.
See you guys.